Like, don't you think I could be the greatest sports journalist ever?
Mm-hmm. Just give you a chance. You ain't been in show.
It is another week of the Lachelle Show, and I am Lachelle Smith. And we got a few things to discuss in this episode. Number one, it is officially March Madness. It's time for you to fill out your brackets and tell me who you have going to the national championship and winning it all. We got to talk about Selection Sunday, how I'm feeling about some teams on the men's side of the bracket and the women's side of the bracket. We got a little bit to discuss about the NFL and some updates on some new players on some new teams and trades that got sent and then got returned back. So we'll get into that a little bit. We got to talk about the WNBA CBA update, which, to be frankly honest, is no update at all because as of right now, they still do not have a CBA. And you know we got to talk about everybody being upset about Bam's 83 points, which I never thought we would be talking about anyone being mad about any player in the NBA scoring 83 points, but here we are. So let's get ready for the episode. But you know what we got to do first? Got to open up the hotline.
I believe that that the Atlanta Dream could steal Flau'jae at number 13 or possibly try to trade up to get her at some point, that would be the steal of the draft for the Atlanta Dream if they can somehow get her. So what are your thoughts?
I really like this question because I feel like I've been pretty consistent in my high praise for Flau'jae as a player. I feel like she's one of the few players in women's college basketball that I believe has developed some part of her game every single year that she's been in college for the 4 years that she's been. And there obviously are things that I think she has to work on. I think being more aggressive, at times being more efficient, and just the leadership of it all. But a lot of people have taken this as an opportunity the last few months to get off some very interesting takes about her. And it's interesting that you bring up the Atlanta Dream because I was kind of looking at their roster recently. The only thing that I can see that maybe it doesn't work for them getting Flau'jae is that they have so many guards. And I think now they are pretty much determined and focused on developing Te-Hina Paopao even more, especially after the rookie year that she had, just coming in on the defensive side of the ball in that second unit, being a starting point guard, being able to facilitate and really thrive in that offense. So I don't know if they're in the market for another guard. I do think for Flau'jae, what we're going to see from her in the W is her playing more off ball. She's going to be more of a two guard who's going to be given the assignment of defending some of the better guards on the opposing team, but she's also going to be looked at to be able to score and create her own shot. She is one of those steals of the draft, a gem in this draft. And I do believe that there are teams that I believe actual contenders that may see her value as a guard that they could develop and have for the future. She's still one of those players that teams value, despite how everyone and their personal feelings are about her. She's a guard that they know can score, and when she's in control of a game, she sets that tone on both sides of the ball. But I am interested to see what teams are going to get her. I think she's going to be a special player given the opportunity, but you know, as they say, it's not necessarily about the number, it's all about the right fit. But I do enjoy this question. It's now time for us to talk about the one thing in March that will occupy all of our time, and that is our brackets and who you have going to the Final Four, who you have winning it all. I'm going to tell you right now who I have in my Final Four. You might not like it. It's fine. Duke, Houston, Arizona, Iowa State. Boom. That's my Final Four. Now, I know someone heard that and said, what about Michigan? What about Florida? And somebody most likely said, what about Arkansas? Let me explain. Number one, Michigan. I have not been fooled about Michigan because they do not have a consistent backcourt. And I've been saying this about March Madness for quite some time. March is for the guards. If you don't have 1 to 2 consistent guards on your team who can control tempo, speed of game, can create on their own, can get to the basket, can hit perimeter shots, and defend consistently. If you don't have that, your team is not going to go very far. And I don't think Michigan has that consistently in their guards. Their front court is amazing. They have all the size in the world, but none of that really matters. And I think Duke kind of exposed that in the game that they played at the later half of the season. Florida is also one of those teams where I am not fully convinced in their guard play. When people talk about Florida last year, what got them so far was their guard play. That is what really got them and propelled them so far in the tournament. And I just don't think that they have that. I'm a big Boogie fan. Xavier Lee, I'm a fan of him as well. But at times they are also inconsistent. They also have size and length, but it's all about the guards. And I think Vanderbilt exposed that a little bit too in the SEC tournament. Having guard play, having consistent guards that can be aggressive and put pressure. Arkansas, I think Arkansas is going to go really far. Their path is a little tough because I do have them having to meet up with Arizona. And I have Arizona going to the Final Four because I think they are one of the most complete teams in the tournament. Arkansas is going to have to play out of their minds to beat Arizona. And at times I worry if collectively as a team that they can do that. They do have the guard play though. So that will be a close game and it will come down to the smallest of margins, but I still have Arizona winning it all. Now, if you ask me who has the hardest path, it is Duke. The committee did Duke no favors giving them the number 1 overall seed, especially in that East region. They got some teams that they got to kind of meet up with just to really get to their goal. I'm talking about you might got to see TCU. You might got to see St. John's. You might got to see Kansas, Louisville, South Florida, Michigan State. They got to see a few people eventually to even reach their goal of the Final Four. Despite me still having them there, I would not be surprised if there are some upsets with them because they have a pretty tough region. If you ask me who has probably the most accessible and manageable path, at least to an Elite Eight, it is Houston in that Midwest region towards the bottom half. I mean, as long as they handle business, they will find themselves Sweet 16 Elite 8 before they really feel like they are playing a high caliber team. So for them, as long as they handle their business, Houston can find themselves in the Final Four very easily and repeating what they were able to do last year, which was getting to the national championship. Now, we will go over who all won their tournaments. You got Arkansas, who is the SEC champs. A lot of people did not expect that. And a big credit to Coach Cal and what he's been able to do, and Darius Acup Jr. being one of the best point guards in the country. Malik Thomas had a pretty good game throughout the tournament. You got Brazil came in big in the SEC championship. There's a lot of pieces that they're kind of finding some momentum at the right time. And I've been saying tournament play for your conference is such a great meter to see how well a team is. Momentum and rhythm are a real thing going from your conference tournament into the actual NCAA tournament. And Arkansas is on a roll right now. ACC champs is Duke. They are down some players, which I think could affect them later on. But as of right now, they're good and they're handling it. Big 12 champions, you got Arizona. And I'm telling you, Arizona is my team to win it all, despite the fan in me wanting it to be Houston and wanting Kelvin Sampson to get his first ring. But Arizona right now has all of the things. They have size, they have length, they got a toughness to them, they can play defense, but their guard play is very good. You got Braden Burries that I think is going to have a really good March Madness. And then obviously you have Bradley, who was the Big 12 Player of the Year. You got Koa Pete on the sides of it all. They have a very good team. They understand their rotations. Houston is one of those teams that if they could catch fire from all of their guards, Milos Uzan and Emmanuel Sharp, they will be able to beat anyone that's in front of them, but they are going to have to catch fire. Kingston Flemings is going to do what he has to do. I think Houston now has also their rotations. They're going to win a lot of games because they're going to be one of the best defensive teams in the tournament, but offense is where will always be one of those things for them. Kingston Flemings, I'm excited to see how he does in March Madness. He's been doing so great throughout this season. But yeah, that's my Final Four. I have Duke, I got Houston, I got Arizona, and I got Iowa State. And if you want me to be honest, I feel like I got a Houston, Arizona national championship, and I want to see them go head to head. But I would not be surprised if there's some upsets. There are some Cinderellas on the men's side. I'm telling you that right now. And really, it's interesting because I think Santa Clara could have some upsets. I can even see Tennessee State having an upset. I can see South Florida upsetting. There's a few teams in that men's bracket. People are talking about Cinderellas and all of that. There are a lot of upsets in some of these regions. So tell me who you have in your Final Four, who you got in your national champion. I think this is going to be one of the best March Madnesses that we've had on the men's side in quite some time. The competition level is high. It's a lot of teams hitting a great stride right now. So get your popcorn ready. Get your brackets locked in. You got until March 19th to do that. And then you know what time it is. It's going to be basketball all day, every day for the rest of March. Now let's switch over to the women's side. And why is UCLA already wanting smoke with LSU?
We're we're excited for, the matchups that we had. In fact, I was talking to Lauren this morning at breakfast, and that was the number 2 seed she was hoping for, right? And so we're not backing down from anything.
That is head coach Corey Close of UCLA, and this was her talking to the team and supporters after they had announced on Selection Sunday that UCLA would have the number 1 seed in that Sacramento region, and how LSU is number 2 in that same region, kind of at the bottom of that bracket, and that UCLA and LSU could potentially meet up again, which they've had to do for the last 2 seasons in March Madness. Now, UConn did get the overall number 1 seed. That sparked a big conversation for everyone because they thought it would be UCLA. I don't know why anyone thought that, because at the end of the day, everyone loves UConn. UConn is undefeated, and I didn't really see any pivot from them not having the number 1 seed. They're also the defending champs, so that was pretty much to be expected. But it was interesting to me because UCLA is a team that I've watched and I've had belief in, but there are things that I still don't know if they have, which is just like this dog toughness mentality. Maybe that's wrong of me. Maybe I'm not seeing it clearly, but it's just something about them that I'm not convinced that they can be champions, even though that they have had success in all these things. And when you hear a snippet like that, it kind of got me because, Coach Close is saying, hey, we're not scared to play anyone. We like the path that we got, which is a challenging path for them. So I'll start on that in a minute. But then to say, well, Lauren Betts, she wanted LSU on that region, and, pretty much they want the smoke. Now, you're calling out one team, one team. But it's a few teams you're going to have to go through before you even reach LSU. And when I hear comments like that from a head coach, that worries me. Because now you're thinking too far ahead. It's one thing to be confident, okay? But you cannot look too far ahead in March Madness. That is number 1 rule in March Madness. I don't care how good you are. You cannot look ahead. The fact that she tells this story that's what Lauren Betts wanted, I'm sitting here like, well, wait a minute. You might got to see Ole Miss before you even get to LSU. You might got to see a few people before you get there. And you worried about LSU. Duke in that region. They not ducking no smoke. Don't sit there and sleep on Baylor either. Because now if I'm one of those teams that you might got to see before you get to LSU, now I feel away. Now I got to show you one. I don't know if I like that, but I do appreciate the competitive energy that UCLA has, but I am interested to see how they fare out. Now, I will say too, Texas has a very interesting bracket. Might got to see Kentucky early on. Might even got to see Virginia Tech early on. I mean, it's a few teams. Louisville's in that bracket. Michigan's in that bracket. Don't sleep on NC State. Don't sleep on Rhode Island. Texas has a pretty decently hard path to really get to where their goals are, but they also are the number 1 seed in their region as well. Obviously, I think UConn has a pretty good path, but the one team that I will circle that I think can cause UConn some type of issues early on is Syracuse. Syracuse is on that side of the bracket with UConn. I do see them beating Maryland, and I can see them having to give UConn some trouble. From there on, they're pretty good. Vanderbilt is on that side of the bracket with UConn as well, but they might meet up later. And then you have Notre Dame there as well. South Carolina, decent bracket. Might got to meet up with USC a little bit early. There's a few other teams there that they might have some trouble with. But overall, I think that they got a pretty good path that they might not have to feel the physicality of it all till a little bit later. Might have to meet up with Oklahoma. But other than that, South Carolina, I like their bracket. UConn has a good bracket, but UCLA and Texas got some hard brackets. I don't know why the committee did that to them, and I might even argue and say that Texas has the hardest side of the bracket now that I'm even really thinking about it. UCLA's path is hard. Texas is hard. And I don't know if the committee is holding against Vic Schaefer when he was talking about the SEC just don't like Texas and him having to play back-to-backs and playing LSU and then South Carolina and him. I don't know if the committee was like, because you said that, now you get one of the hardest brackets in March Madness. They got a hard path, but I do believe Texas will be fine. I will give you my Final Four. In the women's side, I have UConn. I have South Carolina. I have Texas. And I say that a little bit not confident because I like Louisville in this bracket and I like Michigan. I like both of them. And I could potentially see one of them being in the Final Four because they would be able to beat Texas. So as of right now, I'll go UConn, South Carolina, I'll go Texas. And then I will say that UCLA will get to the Final Four. I will not be surprised, though, if UCLA doesn't make it. It might be Duke or LSU. I'll just put that out there right now. So as of right now, it's my Final Four: UConn, South Carolina, Texas, UCLA. My alternates for Texas would either be Louisville or Michigan. And then my alternates for UCLA would either be Duke or LSU. It's going to be a great March Madness all around on the men's side, on the women's side. Tell me who you got, because I'm telling you right now, you're not going to want to miss any of these games. I truly feel it in my bones. There are going to be some special performances in this March Madness from some really young players and some seasoned vets out there in college basketball. You're going to see some upsets. We're going to have some Cinderellas. We're going to have close games. It's going to be everything that we love about March Madness. So get ready, do your homework, fill out your bracket, and let's get ready to have some fun. But you know what we got to talk about next, and it's one of the biggest questions around sports right now. Does the WNBA have a CBA? The WNBA does not have a CBA still. And you might say, Lachelle, what is a CBA? CBA stands for Collective Bargaining Agreement. And essentially what that is a set or a infrastructure for the players and the league that they are playing for. Now, in this structure, revenue share is discussed, salary caps, maximum salary that can be given to certain veterans, rookie scales. I mean, insurance can be in that, maternal leave, retirement. It is the structure of what they are going to stand by for the players and essentially their employer for a set of time until that CBA ends up running out and they end up negotiating another one. Now, the timeline that people have to kind of understand, because I think some people came a little bit later on everything when it came to the CBA, but the WNBA opted out of their CBA in 2024, and it pretty much gave the WNBPA, which is the Players Association, their union, essentially, and the WNBA to come up with a new agreement before we get to now, which is March 2026. It officially expired on October 31st, 2025. So in this entire time, they have not been able to get a deal done. A ton of proposals have been sent back and forth. The main points are housing and revenue share. And the salary was a big conversation of them increasing max salary for certain players. They have went back and forth on this for quite some time. Everyone thought a deal would get done by now. The 2026 season is fastly approaching, and there's still no CBA. No CBA, no season. Well, the WNBA said, hey, we're going to give you a deadline. Now, I don't know how the WNBA given deadlines when they were the ones that were slow on the negotiations, but here we are. They said March 10th. That's the deadline. Now, by the time you're listening to this, we're past March 10th and there's still no CBA. And reports come out that they are all meeting in New York for almost 8+ hour negotiations in this hotel. Some say they are making progress. Others say they're kind of still going in circles and arguing about the same things that they've been talking about for quite some time. If you ask me, this has gone on for really long. And when you're negotiating something like this, which is so important to the future of the WNBA, it does take time, but I don't think it should have taken this long of time. And I give a lot of credit to the players that are a part of the WNBPA that have stood their ground on saying we're not just going to take anything you give us, which is kind of these deals that are like be grateful type deals. And they understand that this CBA is so important to the future of the players that we're going to have, and it sets you up for the next CBA, right? So they're fighting for that. But it's hard because I think fans feel like they have to pick a side. Either you're with the WNBA and you feel like, hey, they're jeopardizing the season. How dare they? Just take what we're giving. And then you got some people who are on the player side, majority, that is like, I would rather, if the players have to strike or stand their ground, I'm okay with that. I'll sacrifice the start of the season if it means that the players are going to get what they want. And it's hard, right? Because I think as fans, you want to understand what's going on. You want to understand how this is going, but it's kind of crazy when you realize that they've been in negotiations for 50 plus hours at this point. 50 plus hours. That's a lot of time when this was a deadline that the WNBA themselves set. So you're going almost 6 straight days of marathon meetings. If you put that in perspective, imagine you sitting somewhere 6 days straight and y'all talking about the same stuff that y'all could have got done months ago, and probably could have got done if the WNBA wasn't being so stubborn about the numbers and the figures. Because I will say this, see, now I'm on my rant about this because everyone likes to comment about the WNBA. They should be grateful because they weren't making anything before. Yesterday's price, not today's price. You don't get to tell me what my price is when I'm looking at the numbers and we have success and we are booming. Come on now. It's just like if you go buy your favorite product in the store and you go tell the world about this product and say you get a ton of views and now everybody want the product. You know what's going to happen the next time you go in the store to go get that product? The product is going to be higher than when you first were getting it because guess what? More people know about it. Supply and demand, you guys. To supply comes at a higher price now because there's a demand. You have this demand and y'all are like, okay, that's enough. Y'all shouldn't be getting more money because the WNBA tells us that you're not making any money. I never understood why everyone ran with that. We have not seen a figure sheet yet. And the WNBPA said that they requested the financials multiple times to the WNBA to see what the figures were and that the WNBA did not want to give them the figures. So if we really broke like you saying, why you not gonna show me the figures? Y'all know people quick to tell you when they broke and people quick to be like, you want me to show you I'm broke? People ain't quick to show you when they got some money. You ain't gonna hear from nobody when they got some money now. It's just an interesting situation, and there are a lot of players in attendance for this entire meeting. Obviously, you have Breanna Stewart, you have Nneka Ogwumike, who is the president of the WNBPA, Breonna Taylor, and Alicia Clark. I mean, they're all there. They're there representing. They have the executive director there. Every meeting they say is a positive meeting. The fact that we scheduled meetings, that we offer dates to schedule meetings, that we actually get together to get in the room, I think that's positive. It's taking as long as it's taking, but you know that's where it needs to be. Now, this does all come after it was leaked that Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart had sent a letter to the WNBPA executive director, Terry Carmichael Jackson, essentially complaining about kind of how negotiations have been going on the PA side, saying that they feel as though the players have not really been involved in some of these negotiations that are happening. And there's a lot of miscommunication going on, which a lot of people thought that that was a sign that the PA was not really united in their front right before that March 10th date. Now, they did end up releasing a statement pretty much trying to confirm to everyone that they are together and that they understood the concerns of everyone. They did have a statement stating in every CBA negotiation, the goal of the league and team is to divide the players. These negotiations are no different. We remain united and focused on delivering a transformational CBA for all members of this union and are committed to negotiating for as long as it takes. So they are in it still, obviously. They are very much connected, and I think it shows because they've been sitting here for 6 days straight, over 50 plus hours negotiating, which is a lot. Now, this is the latest proposal that came out about 3 days ago. The salary cap starting at $6.2 million. That would be up from last offer of $5.75 million and 2025 cap of $1.5 million. There will be an increase of max salary of $1.3 million in year one that grows to nearly $2 million in year 6, and that they are still continuing to negotiate. There's still a few things that they're trying to get in terms of revenue share and everything with that, but it does seem like some numbers are going up a little bit. We are going to see how this all pans out, how long this is going to take any longer, I guess. The season is slated to start very soon, so I don't know how much time we really have before it is affected, because that is something that I've been wondering about. But essentially, they feel like they could get it done, so we're going to let them do that. The 2026 WNBA draft is scheduled for April 13th. So remember that date. Training camp is also slated to start on April 19th, with preseason matchups beginning on April 25th. We are in the month of March. There is no CBA. I want us to really hear what I'm saying here. There is no CBA. We still have to have a draft. We have to have an expansion draft. Then you got to have training camp, and you got to start preseason games in April. And we're in March. March. We all see the problem, right? Just wondering. But I'm hoping the best for this. I hope that they could get this CBA figured out in a deal that both sides are proud of, but for sure want the players to be happy about what they're going to be signing over, because again, it's the infrastructure of what the future of the league is going to be. So hope that the ladies continue to keep standing strong in the negotiation rooms. Business is business at the end of the day. There are no friends in business, and there are no friends when it comes to talking about money and what you're owed. So hope they figure that out, and that we will have an update on the new CBA eventually. We're going to pivot for a minute because I do want to give you some quick NFL updates. And for the first time ever, we're talking about a trade that ended up coming back. Maxx Crosby, who was a Las Vegas Raider, who was also supposed to be traded to the Baltimore Ravens for 2 first-round picks, the first time that the Ravens have ever in their 30-plus history ever traded a first-round pick for a player. They did that for Maxx Crosby, right? And at that point, the Las Vegas Raiders are spending money on players because they are thinking that they have extra money to spend, and that they also have 2 first-round picks for 2026 and 2027 to kind of use, right? Well, Maxx Crosby flies to Baltimore, has a physical, fails the physical, and the Baltimore Ravens are like, hey, we don't want to trade anymore. Now, they did have time before it was official when the new league year starts, and the trade was made known almost a week prior to that. So they did have a little bit of a window to have that physical, see if he checked out of the physical, and if he didn't, able to say, hey, we don't want to do the trade anymore. And that's essentially what happened. Now, Maxx Crosby has dealt with injuries before. He's dealt with knee injuries before. That has been a topic of conversation. I don't necessarily think that it has held him back, but it's obvious that there was something that the Raiders either weren't explaining about his injury or something that the Ravens weren't comfortable about. Whatever that was, they were not comfortable with giving 2 first-round picks for him anymore. Now, the Raiders did release this statement saying, the Baltimore Ravens have backed out of our trade agreement for Maxx Crosby. We will have no further comment at this time. And that is when Maxx Crosby said he is exactly where he should be, even though reports are coming out that the Raiders are still willing to shop him and are still looking to trade him because, again, they spent a ton of money already thinking that he was off the books, and now he's back on the books. So they're pretty much in a pickle, but as of right now, Maxx Crosby will continue to play for the Raiders. If you're wondering what did the Ravens do in return, they went and got Trey Hendrickson, which is a great deal because essentially they didn't have to trade for him. He was a free agent, and Trey Hendrickson looks happy, smiling ear to ear to be with the Baltimore Ravens, which helps the Ravens situation last year of having the fewest sacks that they've had as a team in the last 15 years. And getting Trey Hendrickson helps that defense so much, especially in the pass rush and run support. Now, Kyler Murray, no longer an Arizona Cardinal. He is a Minnesota Viking. And I said in a video prior that I thought Minnesota was the best place for him because I didn't think that they were completely sold on J.J. McCarthy, just a young quarterback. And I don't think the Vikings have time for development. I think that they learned their lesson with Sam Darnold that, hey, you get you a veteran quarterback, and if he has success, this is the guy for the job. Because I think their biggest regret was letting Sam Darnold walk because they wanted to put full trust and faith in J.J. McCarthy. And we see how that happened. He ends up getting injured again, and Sam Darnold wins a Super Bowl. So what do? You go get Kyler Murray for cheap. It's a good deal for the Vikings because, one, you get Kyler Murray on a 1-year deal, a league vet minimum because the Cardinals already owe him $36.8 million. So it's good flexibility for both sides, the Vikings and Kyler. Kyler said he's been a lifelong Vikings fan since he was a kid and that this is like a dream come true to him. Obviously, to pairing a very dynamic quarterback with a receiver such as Justin Jefferson is going to elevate your offense tremendously. The quarterback room is a little bit stacked right now. I do believe Kyler Murray is going to be QB1. Obviously, I don't think he makes the decision to go there if he wasn't already guaranteed that. Obviously, he'll go through the competition of it all in camp, but he will be QB1. He adds so much to their offense. The Vikings are not a bad team. They have defense. They have offensive weapons. The one missing piece was the consistent quarterback play. And I do think that in O'Connell's entire offense, it works for a veteran quarterback like a Kyler Murray, which is why Sam Darnold had such great success. Another person to see on the move who's going to be wearing a new jersey this year, Trent McDuffie is no longer a Kansas City Chief. He is a Los Angeles Ram. Now, I thought that this was a good trade because the one thing the Rams needed this offseason was a cornerback. They needed somebody in that secondary because I think that was one of their biggest weaknesses. So what do? They go trade for Trent McDuffie. He's on a 4-year, $124 million extension. Highest paid cornerback in the NFL right now at $31 million per year. It's well-deserved money if you ask me. Trent McDuffie is an incredible DB, and adding him to what the Rams are doing is going to help their defense so much. So great moves for really, I guess, at least the Vikings and the Rams. The Ravens still got what they needed, which was a defensive end, and they get that in Trey Hendrickson. But I guess the losers in all of this is the Raiders because now they just got a ton of money on the books that they didn't expect to still have. But Maxx Crosby is still a Raider, and he seems happy to be. That's where everyone is for right now. I do expect some more moves to happen once the draft starts. Keep your eyes on A.J. Brown. I still believe the Eagles want to shop him, but I do believe they want to shop him for the right price, especially after DJ Moore was traded recently. So I'm monitoring that just a little bit, but we'll see what happens. But one thing about people going on new teams is that it usually causes a little bit of conversation in a fan base. But do you ever expect that there would be a conversation about a player doing well in a game? If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I am talking about Bam Adebayo's 83-point game. I do not believe any of you are upset that Kobe Bryant's 81-point record, and before anyone says he doesn't even have the highest points scored in a game record, I understand that Wilt Chamberlain has the 100-point game record that we have never seen footage of. But at the end of the day, Kobe Bryant's 81-point record is also still there. Bam scores 83 points against the Washington Wizards. 20 for 43 from the field, 36 for 43 from free throws, 83 points. Had about 40 plus in the first half, had already shot over 14 free throws in the first half of the game. Instead of everybody being happy, congratulating him, everyone's upset. I have never heard these two words the most that I've heard in pertaining to the NBA that I've had in the last month, which is ethical and morals. Those two words have been popping up a lot in the NBA lately. And I've been confused because that never has been the case. I have heard so much this season about ethical hoops. And everybody got this whole thing about what's ethical, what's not, what's respecting the game, what's not. And I'm confused because having a problem with someone scoring 83 points, it just doesn't logically make sense to me. I don't really care what era you're from. I don't care young, old. It doesn't make sense. We're talking about 83 points. Most of you can't even score 2 points at your local rec. And you're over here telling someone who scored 83 points at the highest level that they didn't play ethically. They didn't respect the game. You got people sitting here saying he should have checked out to respect Kobe's record. Huh? What? We can't be talking about the same Kobe Bryant, same Mamba. What? Ultimate competitor. Same one that had the little mamacitas putting up and beating a team by 88 points in a middle school game. And y'all thinking that if he was here, he would tell Bam, nah, don't do it. Don't shoot the free throws. Because that's really what y'all mad about. Y'all are like, that's just too many free throws. And that's not ethical. They shouldn't have fouled him. Do you want him to go to the free throw line and be like, nah, I don't want to shoot this? What are we saying right now, you guys? I think personally, deep down inside, y'all just don't watch a lot of Miami Heat basketball. And I think this narrative about Bam has started to run rampant in people's minds that he's actually not a good basketball player. Now, I will say this. He's not as aggressive as he should be, and I think that's been the one complaint everybody has had about him for quite some time. But don't get it twisted. When you ask anyone who's been in that Miami Heat organization about Bam, they all say, like, he's really like that. You got Michael Beasley saying, I never lost a one-on-one against anybody but Bam. So him scoring 83 points to people who have been around him, watching him, it's not surprising because he is a great scorer. I think what's impressive is if you could shoot 36 for 43 as a center. That's a good stat from the free throw line. And I get everyone saying, well, what about, towards the end of the game where they kind of were purposely fouling and all of this? If you got the chance to break the record, whatever we got to do that, we finna do that. I don't like that we trying to move the goalpost. We talking about ethics and all of this. Put yourself in his shoes. You think you gonna sit there and be like, hey, you guys, don't help me. Huh? Your team see you got the opportunity. You was already there by the fourth quarter. What is we talking about? He had 40 plus in the first half. He was already well on his way. Y'all are not giving up the opportunity to score 83 points. You're not going to sit there and turn down a free throw because of ethics. Stop it. And I think it's crazy because every day I have been convinced this year in this season about the NBA is that y'all don't like basketball. And let me be clear, if the shoe don't fit you, because I know somebody going to be like, why you saying everybody? If it don't pertain to you, then it ain't for you. But if you feel like it kind of hit you a little bit, it might be for you. Like, if the shoe fit, wear it. If you appreciate basketball in the NBA season and haven't been complaining about every single thing in terms of ethics, then it's not for you. But for the people that I truly am talking to that have a problem with Bam scoring 83 points, I don't think you like basketball. And all I'm hearing is everybody trying to diss the fact that he scored 83 points. I've never seen that. Instead of celebrating it, everybody talking about, nah, it's because he did it this way. You have actual NBA players saying it doesn't matter how it happened, he scored 83. The actual people that play the game are sitting here telling you he did nothing wrong. 83 points, it don't matter how you get it, it's 83 points. Giannis said it. Jason Tatum said it. Jaylen Brown said it. Everyone has said the same thing. But somehow y'all think because you feel like it's not ethical, erase it. Erase the record. He don't deserve it. Come on, that's crazy. Be happy for Bam. Be happy for these players. We don't have to have an asterisk to everything, a but to everything. Just because it didn't go the way you wanted it to go doesn't make it less good. It was a great performance, a great experience for him to break that record. And records are meant to be broken. Don't be so sensitive about the record. I think some Kobe fans are sensitive about it. Nobody's ever going to erase the legacy of Kobe. But records are going to be broken. That just is how it is. I'm sure Kareem Abdul-Jabbar thought nobody was going to break his all-time leading scorer record. It's just one of those things. And we might look 10 years from now, 15 years from now, somebody might break LeBron's record. It's just the evolution in the flow of the game. So be happy for Bam. Don't be a hater, okay? 83 points is 83 points. However you kick it, flip it, turn it on its side. Enjoy the NBA season. Enjoy what we're seeing. You don't have to sit there and be a Debbie Downer about an 83-point performance because that's legendary. So shout out to Bam. Happy that he scored the 83 points. Happy he was able to put himself in the record books, obviously. And it's a great thing for us to be able to witness, especially as NBA fans. And we should appreciate that. Before we get done with this episode, I do want to give a quick shout out. I watched the Oscars over the weekend, and I was rooting for everything that had to do with centers. I'm happy that they left with some awards, and obviously Michael B. Jordan getting Best Actor, Ryan Coogler getting Best Original Screenplay, the first woman winning cinematographer award at the Oscars, and obviously Original Score. So shout out to them. Amazing, amazing movie. I would watch it again, and I advise everyone to watch it again. Remember that episodes drop every Monday, 6 p.m. You guys know how much I appreciate you. Make sure you spread the word about the pod. Make sure you're telling everybody. Share it with your friends, your family, your coworkers. If you know some people who love talking about football, basketball, every sport possible, tell them to come check out the Lachelle Show. All fans are welcome, returning and new. You guys know how much I appreciate you. I can't do this without you. And I hope that that gratitude never, ever, ever goes unnoticed that I have for you guys, for every single listener, because we have a lot going on in sports right now and we got to buckle up for it, okay? So remember to leave me a voice message when you can. Take some time out of your day if you can. And it's on speakpipe.com/The Lachelle Show. And you might be featured on episode 4. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Lachelle Show, and I will be seeing you next week.